I was fanatical in my 20s. Mostly I love software. I do remember at the private school I went to, there were other kids whose families were better off, like they had a Porsche or something, but it wasn't that big of a deal. My thing was that I just loved doing software, I loved hiring people, and I was stunned when it ended up being so valuable.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprised you?
Yeah, because I always had to be careful that we wouldn't hire too many people. I was always worried because people who worked for me were older than me and they had kids, and I always thought, well, what if we don't get paid? Will I be able to meet the payroll? So I was always very conservative about the finances. And then when we did go public, what was I, 30 by then I was kind of stunned at what it multiplied out to. I was fanatical in my 20s. Helping Microsoft lead the way in software was the only thing that I really focused on. So, I worked weekends, I didn't believe in vacation, and so I really pushed people to work hard. And I was still learning how to manage people, particularly the different skill sets, the sales people, the accounting people. And so, I fortunately, I think I'm a little bit better now.
But your wife was there. She worked for you. She was in the marketing
Eventually,
department.
that's right. She came after about 10 years.
That wasn't the system that you manipulated to make her come into the company. That happened organically.
She was just there.
At the point where you met and you suddenly sort of took a shine and clearly there was an attraction, had you managed to get on top of your being a sort of a nightmare boss? Were you sort of in control? Because essentially you were still the boss, you were her boss.
Well, not directly. The company was big enough that there were a few people in between myself and her. And, we started off pretty casually, but, then kind of surprised each other by falling in love. And after we got married, she retired from Microsoft, but she always understood what we were doing. She had a great career. Well, Windows 95 was a big milestone for the company. This series of events was immensely fun for everybody who's involved because we had been working day and night. These were pretty maniacal days in terms of work was everything. Even, I didn't believe in weekends or vacations. The team pretty broadly had worked super, super hard. The marketing people had figured out how to take this phenomena, create a lot of excitement around it. We all over the world, we had things being lit up in the Windows colors. We had big events all over the world. There'd been a lot of anticipation because the beta test was literally hundreds of thousands of copies of this thing, and all the developers who had written applications for it were waiting because the memory capacity you got in this generation machines was so much better than what came before.
We've also both been incredibly lucky to have had great partners that we started the companies with, and we've attracted great people. So everything that's been done at Microsoft and at Apple has been done by just remarkable people, none of which are sitting up here, today.
Well, I'm certainly nowhere near as hands-on as I was when I would either write the code or look it over and hire all the programmers. And in my career, this evolution of being an individual performer, then a manager of managers, and then setting broad strategy, you have to get used to the fact you don't have as much control. But I try and understand enough about software that the trade-offs we're making about what features should we put in, what the basic design should be, I still enjoy those discussions. And even today over at Microsoft, we get to talk about, okay, what should the next Office do? How can Windows be better? How's the user interface going to change when we have speech and handwriting and those things? So I'm able to participate, but it is a way more complex field, and I couldn't actually write all the code myself anymore.
When somebody turns on their computer today, they have to have 3 fingers usually, and they put a finger on Control, Alt, and Delete. And it seems a little awkward to do that. Why did you do that, and why do people have to have that mechanism to turn on the computer?
Well, fortunately, most machines nowadays have moved away from that. But the idea that we knew that there was logic in the keyboard that could detect a truly unique signal that would bypass the software that was running so you could know it was really starting over. Clearly, that ended up being an awkward piece of user interface. If we had to do it over again, we wouldn't do it. It sort of was in the chasm between Microsoft and IBM that it ended up being that way. And it's kind of become the poster child of, hey, couldn't you have made this stuff a little simpler?
We love Bill! We love Bill!
So you're the wealthiest man in the world for 20 years or more. How does it affect your life daily? People come up to you all the time and ask for money, or they expect you to buy them things.
Fortunately, people know that that wealth is dedicated to the foundation. And so they have ideas that are in the foundation's area, infectious disease, improving education. Then it's super interesting to have them talk to me or talk to those people. I have the benefit of being well known, so I can go out and meet interesting people and share my views and get a lot of attention. I'd say net that's a benefit. When I'm out with the kids, then it can be a tiny bit of a drawback that you may not get as much privacy as you'd like. But overall, my success has allowed me to get more done, build partnerships, meet great people.
How do you deal with it when you want to go shopping, or you don't go to shopping?
Oh, I go shop. I go out to the theater.
And people don't come up to you all the time for selfies or something?
They can, yeah, but that's pretty quick. And people are usually very nice about it. Was looking at the world more broadly, thinking about where the wealth should go. And I'd say they're equally difficult. You always know you could be doing better, that you should learn more, that building the team and thinking about things in a better way. So you see the positive results, but you always want to do even better.